Hi, my name's Alek, and this is my tiny house. It's 8 by 20 feet, and I built most all of it myself.
Let's go and check it out.
Let's take a look.
Yeah. Okay.
If you don't mind just leaving the shoes by the door. I'm actually just going to leave mine out. You can totally leave them there. Just to make more room, I'm just going to leave mine outside.
It's a nice place. It's so nice to see one of the houses that is really lived in.
Oh,
We're
it's
renting
very
one
much lived
right
in.
now, and it's very...
Yeah. Well, that's what we like to say is a lot of people have pictures online and stuff of these empty houses that are so beautiful and simple and clean.
Yeah.
And we're like, well, that's great, but like this is a house that we live in full time, 2 people and a dog.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
this is what it really looks like.
Exactly.
You know?
There's dog hair on the couch.
Yeah, it's
because
like-
we clean it and
It's
it'll
not-
be dirty again.
It's not a showpiece, it's actually our house.
That's the way it is.
So,
Oh, you
hello.
love the dog.
that's Anya. Say hi.
We were talking about that we would love to hear like your story of the background of why you decided to move into the house, because
Yeah.
the house is very interesting, but the lives in the house I think is even more interesting.
Yeah.
So like what made the shift for you guys? When did you decide?
Well, it was a combination of a lot of things. I mean, one of them was we were at a point in our life where we were kind of in transition. So Anjali was starting grad school, but she didn't know exactly where she was going to go to school. She knew it was happening. And we were living in Boulder, Colorado at the time. And we'd been paying a lot of money in rent, and we knew we were going to come out to California somewhere for school. And we're like, oh, it's going to be even more expensive. So we were kind of like, God, it would be really nice to own a home or build a home.
Yeah.
But we couldn't commit to a location. So
yeah.
we just weren't ready to settle down anywhere. So that was like, okay, I guess can't do that. We'll just keep renting. So I had that in my mind, and then I was like looking through a lot of natural building books and learning more about sustainability and energy efficiency and stuff like that. So that was kind of in my mind. And then I just saw this tiny house concept online. I saw, a photo of some of the original ones, and I was just like, oh, perfect. Like,
do you remember where you saw it the first time?
I don't know the first house, but I know some of the first one. One of the first ones that I really loved is called Proto House. Oh, I love You see that? It has the white interior too.
Exactly.
So that's like one of the older houses. I fell in love with that one. I'm like, oh, I could live in that.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was one of the original inspirations. But there were a ton of other, and of course Jay Schaefer, who you talked to, he has just so much history with it, and so that he was a great example.
Yeah.
And D. Williams as well, and some of those early tiny house people. So I just saw it, and I'm like, okay, it's more affordable, so you can actually do it now with the money I have saved up. It's mobile. We don't need to choose a location. It's just due to its size, incredibly efficient, and like kind of a smaller footprint. So I'm like, that's pretty much satisfies all my needs.
Yeah. And when was all of this? How long time ago was it?
Well, the whole start to the process was probably 2 years ago.
Okay.
And then I started kind of planning the house during the winter 2 years ago, and then in the spring of 2013 we started building it.
Okay, so it's fairly new.
We've been living in it for exactly a year now.
Okay.
And then 8 months to build it.
7 months, 7, 8 months, yeah, of actual building.
Yeah. Where did you build it? Did you build it
in
this area?
We built it in Iowa. We both grew up in a little town called Fairfield, Iowa.
Yeah.
Okay.
And our parents still live there, so we could live at home and put our rent money towards the house.
Yeah.
So that's why we did it there, because it was just far cheaper.
Yeah.
And we were lucky enough to find, through kind of a just Fairfield connection, find an indoor warehouse space to start building, to keep it out of the rain.
That's good.
Well, there was community there, and I think that's
we had
important.
help. We knew people.
I don't think we could have done it in Boulder. It's just a different environment, and we were, it's a very small town.
You had a lot of people pitching.
Yeah.
Help and
just it also, labor is. Honestly, it is also expensive there too as well.
Everything was probably a little less expensive.
So it was supported there, and I don't know if it would have been elsewhere. It might have just been too overwhelming of a task without that support.
Yeah, it felt like the right place to do it. So.
But then we drove it here.
Were you on board with the idea from the beginning? Because I know when it's a couple, I worked on Morgan for 2 years before even getting him to throw anything out.
Yeah.
So I was just thinking, how
it's funny because
is it?
usually it's the women who have to get the men to get on board.
I don't know what's up with that.
But for me,
it's different.
It's different. So. The weird thing about that is that I still don't know how this whole thing happened. It feels very surreal to me because,
like pinching your arm, like where am I?
How did this happen?
It was kind of like
what we nearly separated many times actually as a result of this house. We laugh because it's funny actually how many times it's happened because it felt like his decision without us in mind. Not that the house...
Well, not without us in mind, but just without as much like direct
I didn't know what was happening. I wasn't involved in it. You know what I mean? And
until later. At the very beginning, I was just like obsessed with it, and it was like my passion project. So it took a while for me to realize, like, oh wait, I should check in with my partner.
So he's a quiet guy who's sort of like, if it's your project, and so that's why we learned a lot about our relationship in the process, and the fact that it's small, getting rid of stuff was really liberating. I was totally on board for that.
So you liked that process? It wasn't hard.
No, it wasn't
that was
hard
the
at
best part
all.
about it.
It was so easy. I just encourage everyone because you won't miss it.
Yeah.
You just won't.
All the stuff we got rid of, I don't think we've ever given a second thought to any of it. It's just
there are simple things in the kitchen that would be really useful.
That's what I find too.
Things.
With the kitchen, where I have a few things that I might wish to get that for Christmas because I got rid of it.
Like I know we're making a few
need
compromises,
that,
but even in the kitchen, it's like we have everything we need. I mean, you can always have more gadgets, but we really
that's
have the
hardest
basics,
part.
so.
But everything else, clothing is just essential.
And like furniture, we don't need to have furniture. It's great.
The space issue was a huge challenge. So
Wait,
our
clarify that. So the space, like sharing the
Thank
space,
you.
not like the.
Well, no, the physical space too. We're just used to having more room. So I was used to I'm gonna roll out my yoga mat. I'm gonna do yoga. I'm gonna do whatever I want.
Yeah.
I could. Mm-hmm. You don't get to do that anymore, and so it can really just be jarring at first. So the first few months of my routine completely being shifted was really challenging.
You have to sort of adapt and
find
other places to
grow into your house and grow into the lifestyle.
And like for yoga, if you're used to doing things at home, now you may have to find some like community space or something else, or you have to find other spaces to do some of your like hobbies or your activities that maybe you used to do at home.
Sometimes people also say that. I wonder sometimes, do you actually go then to a community yoga place, or do you find another hobby? Like, do you start running instead because you can do that anywhere?
Some of both, I think.
That's what's interesting is that it's really nice to idealize that whole situation. Well, just go to yoga somewhere else.
Exactly, but how does it work?
And I do. That's my practice anyway. However, there were other issues around that. And when we first moved, I didn't have a vehicle. We live far away from town. I was completely just stuck.
Yeah.
And so that was also, so you can say, like, well, just do your thing somewhere else, but can you?
It depends a lot on the specifics of your living situation. If we could walk to town, it'd be amazing, but we can't, so it changes our daily routine and what we have access to and everything.
Yeah, exactly. In the renegotiation of the relationship, part of that is we have to be a lot more conscious about how we interact with each other and in this space.
What our needs are and how we have to sort of go out of the way to help fulfill each other's needs, because it's not as easy to do everything right here. So it's like, okay, you need space to yourself. We really have to like schedule specific times to be outside of the house so the other person can have some alone time.
Yeah, and the other one have to respect that. Okay, this person needs some alone time, so I have to be okay with.
Yeah, and
we're working
on it, but we've totally we know that that's important now, and so we're like much more aware of where we could get in trouble.
Yeah.
You know, so like now we really try and like be more attentive to what those needs are.
It is a work in progress. Yeah.
It
I was
al-
just
it always
telling
will
you that
be.
we downsized from like 4 rooms to 2, and so that whole like even how you physically move up against each other, you're physically closer all the time, and that can be really great, but it can also be really challenging if you can't like get away from each other.
Oh yeah,
it's
that's
mostly challenging.
sharing that physical space, especially since I work at home part of the day and
Yeah.
she is often working, and we have this fold down desk, and like sometimes we're both just like back to back in the same room, and sharing physical space in close proximity is pretty tough.
Yeah.
Especially when like you're together all day, but then you're also together working, and then it's like you need some.
Yeah.
Well,
other
I kind
space.
of wanted to make it my mission to, I don't know, I wanted to somehow tell the world that if you live in a tiny house with someone, you can't both work from home. Like, I wanted to make it my mission. If you want your relationship to last, you
unless
can't.
it's really built
Just
for.
don't.
But some people, honestly, do that and they're totally fine.
We
with
don't
it.
know.
It's
I
just
don't know
not
of anybody.
for our
I don't know of
personalities
anybody
and stuff.
who's done that personally. So yeah, you see,
We
this
do
is
it. But we have a little
You
more
have a little
space,
more
but we're
space.
together all the time.
Really?
too.
Are you?
Yeah.
I'm
But
so glad you said that.
I think we just have a need for more separation sometimes. Like we're
Yeah.
both sort of introverts, and like we need alone time. Whereas some couples, they can be together 24/7 and be great.
Well,
be
we
super
sort of
happy.
can, but anyway, well,
You know?
yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
It's crazy making, but it's also possible.
What has been like the biggest pro to living in a smaller space? Because there are many like areas of
So
financial
many.
and
For me,
what do you?
God, there's so. I mean, I just love the simplicity of it and sort of the things that it removes from your life in a way. You know, it's like if I, even just in like seeing what happens with our neighbors and the upkeep they have on their house and just the things that go into sort of home ownership. And our friends are like buying a house now, and it's crazy.
Yeah.
And for us to just be able to build this and then have a place to live in a really like simple way is just it's hard to put in words, but it's just that sort of simplicity to me is really important.
What's the best part?
Yeah, for me it's a sense of hope, honestly. And I'll explain that in a way that it's funny that it shows the word hope, but with my schooling, I have the ability and the option to perhaps study elsewhere for certain periods of time. I could even live, there's an internship I'd like to do on Maui, Hawaii, and this creates, we've talked about this a lot, this creates a lot of freedom in my life to do what I really would love to do, and it wouldn't be possible if we had, I mean, yes, you can sublet your apartment, you can go whatever, but we also have plans for maybe creating this as a second home somewhere one day.
It does. It just opens up a lot of possibilities.
It opens up more possibilities. I mean, we might build another tiny house and put it somewhere else, or do 2 tiny houses and have a tiny house office. But, it just feels like there's more of that hope and possibility, and not this, I'm not locked into any kind of, my future isn't certain right now. And the world, there isn't certainty in the world,
not at all.
in the environment.
Exactly. It feels good not to
So we talk about that a
tied
lot.
to something when you feel like the whole world is so uncertain, to like be able to just roll with it and literally
adaptability.
And you'll always have a place to stay. Like maybe you can't move it just when you want it, or it's hard to find a place to park it or something, but you'll always have that home. And if you want to go somewhere else, you don't have to pack down everything. You can leave something and just bring what you need for 6 months. And then,
well, and we're thinking like, if you don't have a mortgage and you don't have like rent that's like a couple $1,000 a month. I mean, living in this area is so expensive. So if we did want to go live, on Maui for 6 months while she does an internship, there aren't very many reasons why we couldn't do that. It's like it's just it opens up a lot of possibilities. So it is kind of freeing.
And getting rid of stuff.
And getting rid of stuff is great.
I had a lot of stuff.
Yeah, you can tell us about that process if you want.
Well,
Just,
the process was easy.
It's a big part.
To be honest, though, I think we had already kind of like done
so
that
much.
process like mentally beforehand in a way. Like we were ready for it. It wasn't hard for us to be like, oh God, we didn't have a huge garage full of stuff anyway.
No,
like,
and
we're
we're
pretty,
blessed in that
you
way.
know?
But I had a lot of stuff. I was really attached to sentimental things.
Mm-hmm.
But there was just a switch. I can't explain it. It was just, oh, wait, I don't need that. I can leave it. If I've left it for this long, I can leave it. It's in my memory. It's in my heart.
Or take a picture of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've talked to people. It's funny, in the tiny house community, most of us, the hardest thing to let go of are books. Hence, we have
still have
extra space still.
Yeah.
We haven't even used all of them.
Because I mean, that's just the books I've accrued while living here. You know,
Yeah.
there's just
Yeah, we
gonna
didn't
be
bring many with us. Most of those are
infinite
new.
books.
I'm
So-
trying to adapt to Kindle. I'm not a big
Okay.
reader, but
Honestly,
I'm
are.
trying.
That's the one thing.
Yeah, that's good.
I think it'll work for me because I don't always I don't consume books.
Right, I do.
But yeah.
It's the one thing that we
Yeah.
should be doing, honestly. It's actually crazy that we still don't really have any books in digital format. It's like, it's hard for us to go there, even though
Nope.
it makes so much sense when you're living in a tiny house.
You
But
can.
But it's nice though that you don't have to be rational about everything
Yeah,
either. If
yeah.
you're willing to get rid of clothes and everything, like we don't have extra sheets for our
Yeah.
bed. Like we wash our
too.
bedding in the morning,
Yeah.
and then we have to do it on
Yep.
a day
Yeah.
where the sun is drying and
Yeah.
put it back on, because
Yeah.
I don't want to waste the space storing them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
So
it's
you
just
pick
like
and choose.
yeah, exactly.
But I mean, we definitely built in probably more storage than a lot of tiny houses have.
Mm-hmm.
So in a way, we probably have more stuff and
I feel like
especially
we
with,
have
like,
more
the books and
storage
stuff.
than some
Big
rooms
houses.
I've rented in college.
Yeah.
You know, or a dorm. I mean, this is easy. We've got storage under here. I mean, little things. Like, it was just his birthday, and, you know, we have streamers, which are, you know, decorations for a birthday.
And, like, some
just a
balloons
little,
and some
but it's not
candles.
like we've given away every little item.
Yeah.
So just to feel like, oh, I still can have little things like that that are really important to me. But they don't clutter. If you're just intelligent about everything,
Yeah.
you can have a great deal, just not
Yeah.
that.
Just not everything.
Organization's important.
What is your biggest passion? You've transitioned into living in this tiny space, but what is your? I find that a lot of times you have this something that's burning in you, something you're passionate about right now that has
Yeah.
something to do about this. What is it? Do you have
Well,
anything
for
like
me, there's so many things. It's not just one thing, but
Uh-huh.
more recently, it's mostly been around creating community.
that? Mhm.
So, I'm sort of still in. It's a little bit slow going, but still in the process of working to hopefully start a tiny house community here in Sebastopol,
Mhm.
and community on other levels too, like a work, like a shared office space to do
Yeah.
work. So that would be like a work community, and then like a tiny house community, and like other forms of community. Because what we're realizing living here, we're sort of isolated in the sense that we're kind of out in a more rural area, and we have to drive into town. And so we're setting it up other areas of our life, hopefully, so that we have like more connection with our neighbors, with other people.
Yeah.
I think so many people, a huge percentage of the tiny house people that I know also want to live in community.
Yeah.
So that's a really kind of driving force for me now.
Yeah.
But there's so many other aspects too. I mean, part of it for me is just really sort of sustainable, self-sufficient kind of life too. So that's always been important. And we're trying to move more and more in that direction. The house, the building itself is kind of the first step, and we're hoping that leads to us continuing down that path.
Mm-hmm. What about you?
Yeah, I have some big dreams that are working on, and the way that the tiny house plays into that is even creating a place for us to live while I sort of build what I'm hoping to build.
It's a great transition.
It's a
kind
good
of
place
space.
to have. It's a good place to dream because you have that extra freedom.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not paying rent, and I couldn't be in school without that freedom.
Yeah.
I would have to drop it, which is okay. I mean, the next possibility would open up.
Yeah.
But right now, it's been wonderful.
Yeah. You sacrifice something, and then
Yeah,
if
in a
it's
way,
worth it, it's fine.
despite the challenges we've had and some of the things that aren't perfect, I still feel like this house made grad school possible
Yeah.
I mean, really, you know, it's like it did open up that possibility that if you had to pay rent here, you may not have been able to live in the state at all.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And so.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's weird territory because I could have just found another graduate school. You know, it's not like the house equals graduate school, but.
In this situation,
it's helpful in this situation, but you don't want to go too far into
Yeah.
Well, of course.
Exactly.
But yeah, given our circumstances.
Buy a tiny house and make all your dreams come true.
Yeah, it's not like that at all. But
not at all.
But once you can see what you need and maybe see some of the barriers to you getting there, like in some cases, a tiny house could help you get there. You know, it just depends.
Yeah. Have you experienced any like differences or changes in your time available? You're studying now, so you still have like in your work, but do you experience, some people will say they have to work less to afford the life, or they can do like independent projects and stuff. Have you experienced
Well,
that?
I have a problem where I'm kind of a workaholic, so I definitely need to work a lot less to afford to live now, but I still kind of continue to work the same amount anyway. Not because I want to, but just because I'm like overcoming that sort of pattern I have, which is just to keep working even if I don't need to.
I would also question that in a way because you are also passionate about building. We're working on building something special at some point, and
I'm working hard to keep saving money. So it's not, I don't want to make just enough to live.
No.
Like this is like
that's
a way.
my job right now.
Yeah, this is a way where we can live cheaply to save money for even bigger dreams.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
So that's why I keep working really hard, even though I don't have to.
Yeah.
You know. And
do you find that with many tiny houses that it's like it's something you try it out, or you do it for a few years or a period of time and then you do something else? Because I know some people have lived in tiny houses and moved back, like because they wanted to be in the city, so move back into an apartment or something. It's not like it's not a bad thing. You know, it shouldn't limit you just because you lived in a tiny house. It should be fine that you at some point want to live in a 700 square foot house. It's still small,
really small.
Right?
Yeah.
But then you are at a point where you can actually afford it, which to me is kind of the point of it. Like, do things as you can afford them instead of wanting everything right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's how I see it. It's very flexible. Like we're not like we have to live in this forever, or we don't have a timeline. It's just as long as it serves us, then we stay here. And then if it morphs into something else later, then that's great too.
The thing is that the tenants of the tiny house must continue. So I have no interest in actually accumulating a lot more stuff in my life. But there is a greater desire to one day have a bathtub again, for example. I probably can't go too many more years without a bathtub. That's just realistic for me. Exactly. So how to create that, but it might not be that all of a sudden we'll leave the tiny house. We might just kind of build on to it somehow. Who knows?
Yeah.
That's what I love about it. It's totally flexible. And if we do, maybe like I would love to build a larger but still small house with some like straw bale or some natural building thing, and then just have this as like a rental or a guest house or an office space or whatever.
Very fancy office.
It would be nice even to have some additional income or something from it. You build it once and then you can.
It's pretty flexible. I feel like it can serve multiple purposes as we get older and our needs change. So it's definitely a transitional kind of thing. We don't think of it as we have to live in this forever, otherwise we're like doing the tiny house movement some disservice.
Exactly.
But we don't have any plans to leave until the next kind of opportunity arises. So.
See what life brings.
Yeah, do what you love. Do what you love. You don't have to be afraid to stay in the tiny house because you said you would.
Yeah.
We plan to.
Well, thank you so much. So Alek is gonna take us on a little house tour of his tiny house.
A very little tour.
Yeah.
Short tour.
It's a short.
Well, let's just start here and move that way, since this is kind of, in a weird way, the hub of the house, because I spend a lot of time on my computer. So this is kind of my work setup. Which is small, but I got 2 monitors, everything I need. So
and you work from home, right?
And I work from home part of the day. Yeah. The other part of the day, as you know, I work at a coffee shop in town just to get out of the house.
Exactly.
But that's the only like non-adjustable, like dedicated space. Everything else is.
What do you do
more,
for a living?
I do web design stuff.
Okay, so it's easy to do.
Yeah, it's
you just have your
online.
computer and you don't need anything
I can
else.
work from anywhere.
Yeah.
So that's that,
Perfect.
and we have all kinds of built-in storage, which was kind of really well thought out for just any space that.
Yeah.
And then this is folded down now, but just to show you how this is almost always up because we usually are, eat our meals here.
Uh-huh.
So that's,
It's like
that's just an all-purpose table, typically for meals, but sometimes we just pile stuff up there because
yeah, exactly.
it's the only table in the house.
Throw your stuff somewhere.
Yeah. And then
I love you have so much space for your jackets and everything.
Yeah, it's one of those things that you that's what a house needs. So many people have no space near their door, and then you're like, where do you put all your stuff?
Exactly.
It's the rainy season now, so we have jackets and scarves and sweatshirts and.
Can you actually put some things out on your little terrace thing out there?
Yeah.
Or does it get wet?
It gets wet, but we have a little hook out here which we sometimes hang stuff on, and then outdoors we also have a little waterproof container which we sometimes put things in.
Yeah.
To store them outside the house.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, so we have a lot of storage, which is starting to fill up, but we still have room for quite a few more books.
It's amazing how things just fill up your space. If there is space.
It's true, and Anjali's in grad school, so most of those books, at least half of them, are books that she needs for school.
Yeah.
She's purchased, so those kind of add up quickly.
Yeah.
But typically, we're doing a pretty good job. We try and if we get something, we try and get rid of something else, make room for it.
One out.
So, yeah.
And the sofa.
This is our little
sofa.
sofa.
To the other side?
The sofa's kind of a mess because it got a little rip in it, and it's got dog hair everywhere. But
you built everything yourself.
Yeah, we even built the cushions. We had sort of custom made. I got a seamstress to sew them and stuff, and so it matched. And then. It's hard to show because it's heavy, but underneath there's all kinds of storage. So this lifts up, and it's a lot easier if you take off the cushions. But have some seasonal, crafty kind of stuff down there.
And I love that you actually have a couch because I think in a lot of smaller spaces, a lot of times there's just a chair.
Yeah.
And you just need that place to put
this
out
is,
your
this
legs.
Is way more. It's like a futon,
right? Yeah.
so it's pretty comfortable.
Yeah.
We stretch out across it and watch TV on the computer, so it's pretty cozy.
You have to have that space.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so.
We'll do the loft last, maybe. So this is a little bit hard to film in here, but this is kind of the ugly part is the storage. But we have a combo washer dryer unit. So we do our own laundry here, which is fantastic because I hate going to a laundromat. And so that's just kind of hidden in the closet, and then other sort of pantry storage and stuff. And then on this side, we have our propane on-demand water heater. So that gives us unlimited hot water. And more sort of pantry storage. And I'll show you this in a second because there's all kinds of storage for the kitchen. And that's all of our coats and whatnot. Other shoes are stored back there.
You have more wardrobe space upstairs?
Upstairs. This is outerwear, and then all the other stuff is upstairs.
It's amazing you can fit that much upstairs.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah, you'll see. We put far more storage than most people have in their loft.
Yeah.
So this is the kitchen, and of course it's somewhat limited because we wanted a lot of living space. Some people build kitchens that sort of extend out into the house, and they're really big, which we'd like, but since we kind of both work from home and we wanted that open space, we chose to sort of have the washer and dryer and some other features instead of a huge kitchen.
But you still
we still have 2 burners and even a little oven.
Yeah.
So this is a range that you typically put in a sailboat. So it's that kind of style, and that's propane as well.
Yeah. And you have a pretty big fridge.
It's the biggest under counter fridge that you can get. It's 6 cubic feet or something.
Yeah.
So it's okay. We eat so much produce that we could easily fit a huge
fridge.
But so that's a bit of a compromise for us, but we just have to go shopping a little more often to make it work.
I love that you have a big sink and granite countertops
Yeah,
and everything.
everything's
I love
stainless steel and like
Yeah.
granite, so it feels like really high end and
Exactly.
nice.
Yeah, and the ceiling is still pretty high. It's not.
This
low.
is 6.5
It's-
feet,
Yeah.
so that's even more. But under here is 6.5. So
How
even
is-
if you're over 6 feet, it's still comfortable. It
How
doesn't
is this
feel-
whole house to drive on the roads? Do you have any problems, or is it built like right to the limit? Because it seems
It
really
is built.
spacious.
It's built just about to 13.5 feet, which
Okay.
is sort of the limit
Yeah.
in most states.
Yeah.
It's not really a legal limit. Well, it is, but it's mostly just for safety. There are some bridges that are as
bridges
low
you
as,
can get.
as 14 feet, so you
Okay.
definitely have to be
Okay.
under that. But this is one of my favorite features is the kitchen. Just so the range takes up so much space, and then every inch. Anya, get out of here, please. Every inch that's not used up there is storage. So as far as like pantry space, it's just like you have access to everything. It's a bit hard to see, but when you're here, you can kind of get at
That looks
pots
amazing.
and pans and spices and
So
food
you
storage and all that.
unfold the kitchen, and then you can work, and
Yeah.
you can tuck it all back in.
Exactly. So that these slider things are really cool, just for maximizing storage space and then keeping it hidden and clean when it's not in use.
I love that you can tell that you guys actually like food and like to cook.
We cook almost we don't eat out much,
Yeah.
partly because we just have like certain sort of dietary restrictions and just things that we prefer to eat.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we eat out occasionally, but we prefer almost every meal
Yeah,
in this space. So it definitely
Amazing.
works. It's very functional, even
Yeah.
though it's small.
exactly.
And of course the Vitamix is.
Yeah, you have to have that.
Kettle is
Awesome.
used every day.
Let's try and move into the bathroom.
The bathroom is, so we just have like a really simple shower. I'm not actually going to let you film it. It's kind of dirty.
It's fine. There's a shower curtain.
There's a shower here. It's kind of small. The shower's great, actually. It's just a normal stall shower like you'd have anywhere.
Yeah.
And we have plenty of hot water. So
Yeah.
we have a just simple bucket composting toilet. So probably you've seen that before.
I have, yeah.
And we just have this other bucket is sawdust. So
Yeah.
once we're done, we just cover it with sawdust.
Yeah.
And
you have a big garden here, so you can get rid of
Yeah,
it.
we have a big compost pile. We have all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
So once the compost is cured for a while and it's ready, we can use it.
Yeah.
And we chose to put a sink in the bathroom. A lot of people don't do that,
Mm-hmm.
but I found this one that was super small because
Yeah.
you still need room to like get around.
Yeah.
But that's great, just to wash hands and stuff.
Mhm.
Wash your face.
Yeah, I
and
love it. Is
Um,
it? It's not IKEA. IKEA.
the sink is not IKEA.
Yeah, they have
the
a
IKEA
few
ones aren't
of
quite
them.
that small. They're
Yeah.
like more rectangular.
Ah, they're
and-
more boxy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one's the smallest one I could possibly
Yeah.
find. So there are some things from IKEA
Yeah.
in here though.
This
down
is.
here. This is okay.
This.
Anya, once again, you're kind of in the way here. This is just so you can have privacy in the bathroom.
Okay.
So it's also our only full-length mirror in the house.
Mm-hmm. But it's nice that you have it.
Yeah.
You have a tiny house and you still
Yeah.
have a
I
full-length mirror.
rarely use the
Yeah.
mirror. Don't bother.
You only need to see from here to there anyway to check out the clothes, so you don't
Yeah.
need this part.
You can't. It's hard to get back far enough to actually utilize it.
Okay. And then you sleep upstairs.
Yeah. Let's check out the loft. The loft I love because it actually is quite spacious. Really proud of it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Has cute little corners.
yeah, and it's got these little grooves
Yeah.
for more grip. So if you want to come up here, you really got to come up to see it.
Maybe I could climb up.
Yeah, you got to climb. Because the loft, in my opinion, is one of the things that makes our house kind of special and different.
It's very
Um,
spacious.
So as you can see, you can sit up in bed.
Come on up.
If you're up here, you can just sit up straight and
Yeah.
not worry about hitting your head, which is different than most lofts where you're like, maybe in the
Yeah.
center you can, but over here, like the bed.
You hit your head.
So, and then we didn't really look so much at the outside, but this loft actually cantilevers out from the house, the footprint of the house by about 1.5 feet, which
Okay.
makes more room for storage. So we've
Yep.
got the queen size bed and then his and her storage on both sides.
Nice.
So that's where it was designed for 2 people.
You have
And-
more wardrobe space than we do.
Oh yeah.
In our apartment.
This is like I need to get rid of stuff. I have stuff I don't even wear, So, yeah, plenty of space especially for if you don't have like 20 pairs of shoes, that's
Exactly.
that's really enough for anyone.
It's a lot easier.
Yeah.
Especially with
Just you have a nice window so we can.
you get air in.
see the moon and
What's it like
always
when
have
you
fresh
step
air.
up here? Does it get really hot? Because it gets warm here, especially like during
It's
summer,
pretty temperate.
right?
It gets warm, but it's not too horrible. In fact, this little nook we built with the idea, we have this little portable air conditioner
Okay.
that vents out the window. So if it gets really hot, we can use it. We didn't use it at all this year. So in this area, it cools down a lot at night, so we'll just open the window and maybe turn on the ceiling fan and get some air moving.
Yeah,
and by
to
the time
move
we
it.
go to bed, it's cooling off up here, so it's not a big deal.
Okay.
But if we were in like Southern California, maybe we would probably in the summer put our little portable air conditioner in.
Exactly. Yeah. You need some air.
That's why we have this. This is kind of like become a little little meditation nook. But it was built with that option in case we needed it.
Yeah. It's amazing. Well, thank you for letting us check out your house and
You're
showing us
welcome.
around and talking to us.
It's been fun.
I love it.
Thank you.
Good job.
Yay!